What is a medical marijuana card and why do people need one? As always, I'm Christy. With me today, we have
Chanterelle.
Amber.
And Amber.
All right. So, getting started, of course, Chantrell is our Starkville manager for our half ounce location. Amber D is our Olive Branch manager for the Olive Branch location. So, guys, jumping into it, what is a medical marijuana card and why do people need one?
A card that allows individuals with qualified medical conditions to be able to obtain cannabis easily and safely.
Okay. So, why would it be important? Why would we need one?
Comply with the laws.
The law.
That's right. That's right. Like to be able to travel with it. Like, let me tell y'all. Okay. So this weekend, I was coming back from Olive Branch and I got stopped at a roadblock. So the officer comes to my window and he smells weed and he's like, "Do you have any marijuana in the car?" And I'm like, "Actually, yes, I do." And he was like, "Okay." And then I passed him my medical marijuana card, my driver's license. And he said, "Where is the marijuana located?" I said, "In my backpack in the back of my car." He said, "Can you get it out for me, please?" So I said, "Of course." I got it out for him. I had my receipts. I was actually teaching him a little bit about how much you're allowed to carry in the state of Mississippi and some various other items. But the most important thing is that medical marijuana card allowed me to walk away. Like,
Sure.
I can't stress that enough because my daughter was at home. She is 15. So she is allowed to stay by herself, but she was at home by herself, and that could have went real bad if I didn't have the card.
Yes.
We have so many people coming in the door just trying to be like, "Oh, I have to have a medical card to purchase here." They just walk in like, "Yeah, I'm ready to buy some weed." It's like, what?
So, what are some qualifying conditions for obtaining a medical marijuana card in Mississippi?
Chronic pain, probably is the number one.
I would say
PTSD. We
yes.
have a lot of patients with PTSD. I qualified with chronic pain from degenerative disc.
And of course, there's others like cancer, glaucoma, epilepsy, HIV.
Parkinson's.
Yeah, you can find a full list on the Mississippi Department of Health website. And they recently updated it to include some other conditions that were previously on there. So it's always important to just kind of keep up to date with that because they do change the conditions and add them, and then more people are eligible. So that would be great. Let's talk a little bit about age, guys. So this is the big one. How old do you need to be to apply for a medical marijuana card in Mississippi?
Applicants have to be at least 18. If they are under 18, I know some have had under 18 patients due to like very severe diseases, and they must have a caregiver with a caregiver to get a caregiver's card in order for them to purchase. What does make it tricky is even though you do have to be at least 18, anyone under the age of 25 has to see 2 practitioners. So I know people have just had a little bit of a harder time dealing with that, getting 2 different doctors. Nowadays, there's so many more doctors than when the program first started. I know it was a lot more difficult, but now it's a little bit easier to find more doctors in your area and you can go from one to the next. But it is important to know that if you are under 25, even though you're old enough to get the card, you do have to get certified by 2 different doctors.
A lot of things that I've kind of experienced with our 21 or 25 and under group is they had to go to Jackson, but their cards are fair, like their number is really early or new or old, I guess. They were one of the beginning steps.
One of the first ones, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they were having to travel to Jackson because that was the only other doctor that was located that would do the second certification for them. So hopefully that process is getting a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Yes, and touching back on that caregiver situation, that applies to anyone under the age of 18. However, anyone between the age of 18 and 21, has to have a caregiver, well, a parent come in with them. So just keep that in mind. If you're 18 to 21, you will need a parent or legal guardian to go into the dispensary with you. If you are under 18, you have to have a caregiver. So your parent or legal guardian would have to be the caregiver that would actually purchase the marijuana products for you. And yes, it is a pain having to go to two doctors. I can't imagine. I mean, I would like to say, but so, guys, do people need to be a Mississippi resident to get a medical marijuana card?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Proof of residency when applying for the card.
Right. And so that can't just be like a lease or anything. Like, it needs to be a Mississippi state driver's license. I myself just got a card on the 17th of July. It took me 5 hours to get it. I went and saw the doctor. 5 hours later, I had my card. It took me a week to get the driver's license. So just keep in mind, in the state of Mississippi, if you are trying to get a driver's license here, you need your social security card, 2 forms of ID, your birth certificate. And if you're a married lady, you need that wedding certificate too.
I did have a patient come in as well saying that they were a dual resident. I think you just said something, but they were a dual resident of Tennessee and Mississippi. But their driver's license was from Tennessee. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, you have to have that driver's license.
Exactly. So, as far as like driver's license and documents, what documents and information would people need before their appointment with a medical marijuana practitioner?
If you have like previous doctor information, my husband broke his leg a few years ago, has been to the doctor multiple times, had surgery. So he went ahead and brought all that documentation with him to the doctor. And went ahead and gave it to them so they can see that medical history without having to get permission to pull those records, which they can do. You sign a form that says that you're authorizing them to contact the doctors that you visited, but it makes it a lot easier if you go ahead and bring that information with you.
That is correct, especially if it's for a qualifying condition like chronic pain. Any kind of like visits to the doctor that you had will help prove your point in those. Me, I have severe PTSD, and my sister in Arkansas passed away a few years ago, so I didn't have access to my file. At that point, I had already gotten a medical marijuana card in Arkansas and was no longer needing pharmaceuticals. So when I went to see the doctor, I told them that I didn't have access to my file. They gave me the post-traumatic stress disorder test. So they do have tests that they can administer in the doctor's office as well that will help with your post-traumatic.
I brought any x-rays too that I had. I was lucky to have like a copy of that on a CD. So that helped me out a lot because I actually, when I got the x-rays done, it was at like a RedMed because I didn't have a regular doctor I would go see. It was just, I had an accident and I do not like to take any type of pain medicine. So I didn't really have that, but the doctor gave me x-rays. So I took those up there and that helped out a lot.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about doctors. How do you find a doctor in Mississippi? Can just any doctor prescribe medical marijuana?
No, you have to find a certified practitioner to provide the card for you.
Okay.
There's a list on the Half Ounce website. You can go there and filter through your county and find a local doctor. There's also a list on the Mississippi Department of Health website as well.
And as always, you can always walk into a dispensary and ask. Most of the people in dispensaries have their medical cards and they probably went to a bunch of different doctors.
Especially ones that are local to you all specifically. Go to your local dispensary and they'll be like, yeah, I got it down the street at so-and-so.
Yes. And if you see anybody that's under the age of 25 in there, they know 2 doctors.
And usually we have a couple of places that will come in and put like discount cards for if you're a first time patient to come see them. They'll do like $125 registration fee versus, the $175.
Nice. So what happens during the consultation with a medical marijuana practitioner?
I filled out my medical history on that. And then we kind of discussed what condition I was coming to talk to her about and what I wanted to qualify for, and previous treatments that we've talked about as far as that goes. And then she kind of determined out of that if I qualified or not. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, they also, at my follow-up appointment, she went over a lot of the just overall benefits of marijuana in general, talking about what specifically the way that I use it, what I prefer, how it helps me, just to kind of, I think the doctors are also becoming more educated as they see more patients and they're learning more about the benefits while they're seeing it improve so many people's lives. And so at my follow-up, there was a lot more questions about specifically how it helped me, how it's been making me feel and stuff like that. So that's great to know that they're keeping track of that kind of thing and helping others who are more scared, probably.
That makes sense. When I went, they asked me what kind of medications I had been on for my PTSD. I had tried several that didn't work good for me. So I remembered as many as I could. They did check, of course, my vital signs and told me I have high blood pressure. That's okay. But then overall, they discuss with how I use what I found works best for me. Guys, what about limitations? Can the doctor put limitations on your card?
Yes, they can.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the limitations.
I think the main one has been some people do no flour, only edibles, or only oils, tinctures, or dermals.
Right.
I've seen people that have had a heart attack or lung issues, and they have that limitation on their card, which they can't actually use the flower and inhale the smoke. That's not going to benefit someone who has lung problems.
I mean,
well, everyone's doctor is different, and the doctor will help.
Yes, they absolutely do help, and they actually care about the way it makes you feel. They want feedback from us as much as we need feedback from them, because this is all new for everybody. So let's talk. We touched on this a little, but how long does it typically take to receive your medical marijuana card after applying?
It took me about 2 weeks, but that was at the very beginning. So I think the average time is about 2 weeks.
It's such a range, because I think it's going to take longer when, if there's like a bunch of people at once trying to renew, it's going to push the timeline back a little bit. My husband got his like a couple weeks before mine. It took him 30 days to get his card. It took me 24 hours.
Oof.
And it was like just a 2-week difference of that. And I think it really could just depend on how many people are doing it all at once.
Oh, it absolutely does. Like I said, I got mine in 5 hours here, but in Arkansas, my card was due in June, and everybody in the state of Arkansas that works in the industry has to renew their work permits in June. So needless to say, that card took me a good month and a half to get. So
yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So it can vary, but typically I would say 1 to 2 weeks.
That's it.
All right. So can you use your medical marijuana card in other states?
No.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So some states do not require a visitor's card, and you can absolutely use your medical marijuana card in those states. Generally speaking, though, those states are recreational, so you really wouldn't need a medical card anyway. But medical cards issued in the state of Mississippi, if the state that you're going to has a visitor's program, you can use your medical card from Mississippi to apply for a visitor's card. So I know that a couple of you ladies on here have cards to various states. It was pretty easy to apply, would you say?
Yeah, when I went on vacation a few state. I was visiting, and the process was very simple. I just filled out my information online, and then they asked me to upload a copy of my Mississippi patient card. It took about maybe 3 weeks to get it, but I did in enough time for me to have it for vacation, so I didn't have to worry about not having medicine on vacation.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I would suggest is just kind of look ahead of the, like if you have plans to travel, that's what I did is look ahead at the state's program and give yourself, a couple of weeks just to make the process, actually finalized before you leave.
Yeah, I would say don't even hesitate to start a month before, because one of the states that I've had a visitor's card to, it took me 30 days to get the visitor's card. Some of them are faster, some of them are slower, some of them don't require one. So guys, just always check the state that you're going, check their rules and regulations, and take it from there. What are the costs associated with obtaining a medical marijuana card?
So you have a consultation fee, and that goes with to your practitioner. Then you also have an application fee, and you have some other additional charges for like your medical records, and other fees can also apply. But it's best to check with your practitioner first, or on the Mississippi Department of Health website as well, so you can know what the cost is going into it and won't be shocked.
Agreed. And with the practitioners out there, there's a lot of them that are offering, like Amber said, X amount off if it's your first time, or renew with us for X amount. And I mean, it doesn't ever hurt to shop around. Like with inflation like it is, I save every penny.
Yeah, go find a dispensary and pick up some discount cards before you go get it. Yeah. And then there's also some places that do like a program. The one where I got my card, I'm in a loyalty program, so I pay a monthly fee, and I think it was a little bit cheaper when I initially got it. And your checkup or your renewal, you don't have to pay anymore. So if you pay that one big chunk at the beginning, when it's time to renew in 6 months, some doctors you will have to pay like $175 again. Mm-hmm. Or where I went, it's like a monthly payment. So it really just depends on the location. So definitely shop around and find what fits your price range the best.
Speaking of monthly, so some of us have cards that expire in a year. Some of us have cards that expire in 6 months. It's really up to your doctor as to what they feel like they need to put as far as 6 months or a year. I do know there are doctors out there that offer on the internet, on their websites, a 1 year long certification. The doctor that I have is 6 months, so I will have to go back in 6 months.
And most of those consultations, like mine was virtual, so I didn't actually have to physically go back into the doctor. I could just do it online with her in a, like a FaceTime video. That was very convenient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. So are there legal restrictions where people can use medical marijuana, not use medics?
Yes. So medical marijuana cannot be used in public places or on school grounds for sure, or any location where smoking is prohibited. It's basically just limited to private residencies. So as long as you're at home or, where it is a private household residence, then you should be good to go.
And okay, also not while you're driving.
No driving.
No driving. But let's talk a little bit about the private residence. So let's say you're renting and you're not allowed to smoke in your home.
You would need to probably talk with your landlord beforehand, just to figure things out legally, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, I would definitely advise that. Also, there are alternatives that use the stinky weed. You can always vape. You can use concentrates. You can use edibles. Just, you want to keep yourself out of trouble. The whole point of having a card is so that you don't get in trouble. So even though the law says that you can use it in private residence, if you're renting or you're leasing a home and it is against your rental or leasing agreement, I would definitely check beforehand and just try to work something out, because the last thing you want to do is get kicked out for something that you think you're doing right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For sure.
All right. So can we grow our own medical marijuana if we have a card?
Don't we wish?
Yeah,
But
absolutely not.
not yet.
Right. I mean, here in
Hopefully
Mississippi, you're not even supposed to be able to see the weed, so
Yeah.
let alone grow it. And then, you have to buy your weed strictly from state licensed dispensaries. If you get a visitor's card to a different state, keep in mind, still federally illegal to cross state lines, even though you may have a card from this state and you're going straight to another state that also has cards and you have a card there, you still can't buy from there and bring it back. You can't take from here and take it there. So just keep that in mind, guys. What should somebody do if their medical marijuana card application is denied?
You have the right to appeal that decision. You can seek further consultation with your practitioner to address issues with the application. Maybe something was put in incorrectly, typos, errors. Definitely first check with your practitioner and see what went wrong. And then you can appeal that and try again.
I will say that that as far as like denying the application, I've seen a couple kick back, not necessarily denied, but they kick them back, and it's mainly because of the photo. So when you provide a photo to the state, it needs to be on a white or off-white background. You should have a natural smile or neutral expression. Don't wear hats. Don't wear anything that covers your head or your face. So most of the time they get kicked back because their photo is like an Instagram filter, or Snapchat or something. So just be sure you're paying attention when you're uploading those photos.
I said mine got kicked back because they spelled my name incorrectly.
Oof.
So I had to email them for them to correct it before I could purchase.
Nice. Well, I've seen a couple, even work cards, people get them kicked back if they don't do that photo right. That's the biggest one I've seen.
Yeah,
So
the photo
you-
restrictions are very strict.
Yes.
Like white wall behind you, soft
Yeah.
smile, whole
Nude
face
pictures.
showing. They want you to like have your hair pulled back like this.
I look bald headed.
Like, yeah, some of the pictures like
My head looks this long on mine. It's like that. I don't know, like that.
yeah, mine.
Really is.
Those pictures are definitely not cute. I mean,
No.
I've seen maybe one person with a cute picture come out from the state,
Yeah.
and she's always cute. So I don't.
Yeah.
But so guys, we touched on this a little bit, but how often do people need to renew their medical marijuana card?
I guess it depends on the expiration date that your doctor was 6 months, and a lot of them are a year, but most that I've seen have been 6 months.
Right. So I would definitely suggest if you're getting up for renewal, because it can take up to 2 weeks, I would start at the very first of the month. Let's say your card expires on the 30th. I would give myself a whole month to get that card, just to be on the safe side.
yeah, when I renewed mine, I did not give myself enough time. Remember, I didn't have my card for like a couple weeks. I was out.
Did you have to get a new number?
No, I was
Okay.
able to, even though it like they canceled it, I was able to get an extension for it once I called them. I think I filled out the wrong application, like a silly goose.
You filled out an update
Yeah.
instead
Yeah,
of a
I filled out
renewal.
the update instead of the renewal. And so they were able to fix it for me. It just took a while. So definitely give yourself enough time in advance to get that ready, because mistakes happen.
I
Yeah,
always click on renewal. I think that's probably the biggest feedback that we get with having to help people when they can't figure out why their renewal didn't come back or it's denied or something.
because they're updating instead of
Instead of
renewing.
renewing.
We found out firsthand, so we have been able to help people. Thank you, Amber.
Well, the state's email said don't fill out the renewal until exactly after 1 year. And so I was like, okay, so I fill out the update, right? But it was just worded confusing. And now we know, and now we can educate all of y'all not to make my mistake.
Yeah. I think
Exactly.
they have changed the wording on there, but people are still getting confused.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for today. So you guys out there, be sure to, we're going to be doing Facebook Live again. We'll let you know next week. That's a secret for now. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day.
And we'll see you
Bye.
next week.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Thanks.